Welcome back, everyone, to our bonus episode of For Those Made to Do Omnichannel Marketing. We are joined here again with Harry Lonergan, Head of Digital Marketing and Interim CRM at Tayer Insignia, where we are answering the wildcard question that we proposed to him in our main episode. So a bit of context, Harry. We make the wildcard question a little unexpected, thought-provoking, and the sky is the limit on how you approach it. And we say this to all our guests. So I'll repeat the question for you. Do you see augmented reality creating a new market segment by changing how buyers interact with brands to make new purchases?
In short, yeah, 100%. And I think we touched on this a little bit in our last episode with regards to how much room for growth and development omnichannel experiences have as a whole. And, things like a consumer's experience as they go through, whether it be a physical store and being able to interact and be told, this thing is in your color and you can shop it in a different size and it can be delivered to your house. But when we think about the adoption of something like augmented realities, a lot of the big tech firms are actually starting to really adopt this already. And you see things like Google Lens, for example. That is an add-on of an app that was acquired not that long ago, whereby you could take a picture of what someone was wearing and it would tell you, this is where you can buy it, this is how much it costs, and here's all the 50 different resellers that actually has it in stock. And I think the things like the next step will slowly become, mirror selfies that are physical things. That's augmented reality, and I think that will start to be adopted by the platforms straight into your pocket. And the likes of Snapchat and TikTok and Meta, and even Google, what they're doing in some of the elements of YouTube from their shorts and everything else that they're doing. They are big adopters of augmented reality, and things that started off as just a bit of fun, putting a new filter on, they're very quickly being commercialized. Something that we have from Bloomingdale's, for a perfect example, is that you can see what different shades of lipstick look like via the app. So if you're not entirely sure of what shade suits you best, you can try multiple variations of it. And I just feel like that's going to be the thing that really starts to grow further and further and further. You can, in certain cities now, utilize Google Maps. And whereas previously you had the view to either see it in just like a satellite mode and you can see the route ahead of you, you can actually now hold open your camera, move it around so it understands where you are, and it will be able to guide you as you're walking through, and you're holding the app. Now, I don't know how safe that is in some cities, walking around with a phone hanging out of your hands in a crowded tourist spot, but certainly in Dubai, it should be fine. But yeah, I think there's room for scale. But whilst augmented reality is required on individuals being in a particular space to augment that reality that they are in there and then, I think the biggest space is going to come from virtual reality. And the reason why I think that to be true is because, like I say, to augment a reality, you must be in a physical space. Whereas virtual reality, you can be anywhere you want. And by default, it can take you anywhere you want to be. And I don't know if you guys have seen the film, but the book Ready Player One, which was then adapted by Steven Spielberg into the film Ready Player One, is about a virtual reality called The Oasis. And it's already in effect at this moment in time. Meta are pouring billions into R&D to create the metaverse. Now, at the moment, again, I mentioned it in our previous episode, these things are sort of seen as fads. But it's going to take a couple of industries to push it as far as it can go, to spearhead it. And I think gaming is probably going to be the thing that spearheads it and moves it forwards, because you can stay in your armchair, but you can put an interactive headset on and you can be in any type of environment doing anything, whether it be a first player shooting game with your friends who are in multiple different time zones, whether it be a racing car and you've got that whole 5 sensory experience whereby you've got the feel it, the see it, the smell it, the touch it, and everything else. I think that virtual reality is going to start to be commercialized. At the moment, it's just gaming that's getting there. But once the commerce industry start to understand that actually you can be physically present in this virtual reality, you can work in this virtual reality, you can experience holidays in this virtual reality. Cost of travel has gone up exponentially. We were all told it was just going to be, well, they filled the interim after COVID and we were all in it together when they were getting their pilots back. I don't see any of those airfares going down anytime soon. and you've got a family of 5 that you want to take to somewhere on holiday, well, it's cheaper to do it in your own living room, right? And if you can if you can put that virtual reality headset on and you can travel and you can experience everything and you can really, I'm not saying we're anywhere close to it, but that for me is the much bigger ecosystem. The augmenting side of things is there at the moment, but the massive gap is going to be virtual reality, and that's going to be the thing that's going to be the real next generation type of stuff. Augmenting stuff it's great, it's fun, it's cool. You can hold up a Snapchat lens and see something come to life in front of you. You can commercialize it, see what different color dresses are and how something might look at in a different shade. But if you can begin to experience a whole nother world and you can commercialize that I think is going to be the thing that is going to be the major game change.
Do you see augmented reality as a stepping stone to build the consumer appetite towards the adoption of virtual reality ultimately?
I think that is a perfectly eloquented question that answers itself. I think yes. I think absolutely. The idea of spending several $1,000s on an expensive clunky headset versus utilizing your phone, which has an amazing camera quality that you already have, is going to be the much easier stepping stone for it. But virtual reality versus augmented reality, I think as we see this growth of new generations that are digital nomads from day one, they are already in virtual environments. The rest of us just don't know because we've not adopted it, but they're already there. It's just until we start to work out how to commercialize it, because once it gets commercialized, then loads more money goes into it. I think right now we've got the generations underneath us who are virtually in that reality. And I think for the rest of us, augmented reality is the fun stepping stone to get us there.
I just had a thought as you were talking, because especially when we talk about omnichannel and we talk about the adoption of tech, and we think about, especially being in Dubai as well, when we think of like the supply chain and the carbon footprint that all this will bring, this accessibility to things. And what's your thought on this? Because all this new technology, especially like if we think about a virtual reality, what that footprint will look like. As a marketeer, where do you sit on this?
Well, I think in terms of the impact to the environment on a physical basis, I think virtual reality caters to a lot of the problems that we have, right? There is not a current method of travel. If you look back at this podcast, augmented reality was a fun little thing on the way to it. And your question, the way you said it was perfect. It's just the stepping stone.
For us, the oldies who didn't grow up with Fortnite to get us there.
Yeah, because when I think about, because I love to shop, so it's a problem, let's say. But during my time in London, I used to work just off Oxford Street, and it's
a dangerous combination.
Yeah, that's what probably fed the habit in the first place. 100%. And since I've moved here, I don't enjoy going to the mall because I like shopping in open air spaces. I find it really claustrophobic and I just feel a bit like in cage, and I don't enjoy the mall experience, which is weird because I have a shopping habit. But now it's transcended online, and that's basically where I operate now. But when I used to go to Oxford Street, I'd probably say maybe sometimes used to just run there in my lunch and just mooch around Topshop, have a nice time, come back. And sometimes after work, I would just go to like decompress after the day and just mooch around the shops, enjoy, touch, feel, experience. And we talk about the future of like marketing and where it's going. And I just think if you're just going into the store and you know exactly where you want to go, you're not experiencing the experience of shopping, right? Yeah. Like the traditional experience of shopping, let's say. And I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect there because you're just going to have this arrow and it's like, yeah, go to all three and pick up whatnot. And I get it from the convenience point of view, but I think there's a piece of going shopping on a Saturday with your mum, walking around the town. You know, I know things have changed and people don't really do it as much anymore, but I think for me, I was going there to just browse, enjoy, like
pass the time.
Yeah, pass the time and
discover. I think
because I love fashion, so I was like, okay, what all the different shops doing and all of this sort of stuff. And I think there's a disconnect from that touch, feel, experience point of view in the physical, not necessarily in the virtual, you know?
I mentioned previously attribution is such a difficult thing to comprehend, but when we get to a point where we can really understand how experiential touch points have added value and that can be attributed to it, that is where we'll really unlock true omni. Because if you can walk into a store, I mean, who on earth likes walking around with bags. Like no one. I mean, don't get me wrong. When you see someone coming out with a Hermes bag and it's orange and you're like, I wish I had that. That's a branding exercise. There is a reason why their brand, their bag, when you walk out of a shop, looks like their bag. They are doing it on purpose as part of their marketing. If you could walk into an experience, and this is going to be different for every single store type, right? You know, going into an Hermes store is an experience, mainly because if you can afford an Hermes product, great, you're having a fantastic life. Please come and find me. But like your thing about, you know, going in and experiencing, a lot of what retail is doing over here is I wouldn't say it's outdated, because that would almost be condescending, but they look at it in a much more traditional way, whereby every square foot must have a revenue associated to it. And if it doesn't hit that target, it's being transitioned out and they're trying something different. But that's that we call it last click online, but that's that last click attribution, i.e. is that thing making immediate sale? If the answer is no, it gets rid of. But what if you change the narrative and it's, well, okay, did that person interact with that thing? And did they then go on to make a sale somewhere else as a result of a positive experience with that thing? Okay, now you're attributing. And that's that attribution link that's really, really difficult. If you can say that experience gave you meaning and value, and it created a heartfelt memory that you have remembered time on by. You did something with your mum in Oxford Street or a particular shopping place and you enjoyed it and you can remember it. That attribution from a lifetime value has got you in, and that's kept you in that ecosystem. And that's what the difficult part with attribution is. If you can say, I have an experience that is solving for a problem, it's suiting a particular need, and I can attribute it towards a commercial target, then you're unlocking so much potential.
And I think I read somewhere that omnichannel was kind of born because a lot of marketeers were observing this new behavior where people would go and browse in store, touch the product, see the product, feel it, and then they would go online and they would buy it because
there's discounts.
There's discounts, or simply because it gets delivered straight to your house. So back to your point of who likes to carry 100 bags around? Nobody. So I'll see the jeans, I'll try them on, they fit me, and I'm going to go from the same brand, buy it online, and then they're just going to deliver it to my house in 2 days. Everybody wins, right? But then I don't know how people would, well, I guess there would be ways to track that now, although it's still difficult, but back in the day it was...
Yeah, I mean, and there is a brand in the US, I can't from the life of me remember what they are, but I actually think they are, funnily enough, you said jeans, I think they are a jeans brand, and they have a store that does not sell a single item at all. But the whole idea is, you go in, you try them before you buy, you browse through the selection, you see what it could look like with other bits and pieces, and then you walk away.
Right.
But you make the purchase somewhere else.
Yeah, I like it.
But what does that reduce? It reduces down
storage.
How much storage.
Right? Yeah.
Now your operations is coming out of a centralized distribution hub, which is far more effective for your last mile delivery. You're paying less money on real estate for the size of the store because you don't need to have that much space. You're cutting down on wages because you don't need 50 million employees on the store staff hovering around you as you walk through the store.
Yeah.
Like it solves for a lot of problems. So again, what's the
display
problem? How do you
store.
solve
It's really
it?
cool, actually.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you. That was actually a really great discussion, and it was on one of my favorite topics. So, shopping.
How often do you say that?
But thank you so much, Harry. It's been really, really cool to hear all the future plans that marketeers have in store for us.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Harry. This was an amazing conversation and you taught us so much. So thanks for your time and thanks for coming into our studio.